Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined tonight by Jack and maybe a couple of other people from Mavs Moneyball, depending on who's showing up. Jack, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Well, I appreciate you joining me here. Josh needed to have the night off, and I was on a plane during the entire game, so this is going to be a box score podcast. I'm just kidding. Jack actually watched it, and so did a couple of other Mavs Moneyball folks. I caught the last. I tuned in as you were losing your shit at PJ Washington's final turnover there, and it looked like the Mavs played pretty well for the clutch. So let's walk me through the first half, because I got off the plane and I was looking at the thing and it looked like Cooper good, AD bad, but the Mavs were doing okay.
Yeah, first half, Cooper was great in the first quarter, super aggressive, just getting downhill. I wouldn't even say AD was playing bad. He just was invisible. Like, he wasn't doing anything. First, I mean, the Nets were super hot from three. Let me pull up the half by half stats real quick.
It was pretty.
Michael Porter Jr. is going. Michael Porter Jr. was playing great in the first half. He was good in the entire game, but the first half was just kind of. This whole game is just kind of whatever. Like I don't have too many like crazy takeaways. Like, Cooper's good. Najee's good.
Well, it seemed like doing. I have to do these videos for the company Offsides, and I was trying to figure out. I was mainly excited to just watch basketball again, and I kind of said as much in the video, and I said the only real path I see to the Nets being able to defeat the Mavericks is an outlier shooting night, and it sort of looks like, looking at the numbers, that's a little bit of what we got because Michael Porter Jr. is a talented player, but the question was, for me at least, is that guy going to beat you all the minutes that he plays? And it looks like he did so right up until the end.
Yeah, first 3.5 quarters. I think they shot 55 or 50+% in the first half from three, and then the fourth quarter they just went ice cold. They went 2 of 9 on threes in the fourth quarter. So that's pretty much what happened. They were just shooting the hell out of the ball first three, and then couldn't make a three in the fourth, and the Mavs are just a better team, so they outplayed them in the fourth.
Hey, there's my man Sudar Chance. We're kind of what was Sudar Chance? How you doing today, bud?
Hey, good morning. Sorry, I'm a little late, Kirk and Jack.
That's okay. It's morning where you are. We're out here. It's 10:15 ish our time. We were just sort of talking about the first half, and I was complaining, at least from my vantage point of box score watching, is so I get off the plane and it looks like the Mavs they were giving up some stuff they shouldn't, but Cooper was playing fine, and all the Mavericks really were looking for in the second half was AD playing a little better, and it seemed like in the second half he remembered he was in fact a professional basketball player and turned in the kind of game, like his box score in the second half. I think he had 20, 11, and 3. It's like, oh, that's a good game for him in a lot of circumstances. Yeah. So,
I think this game was like the perfect game to shut up all those defensive rating nerds. The ones who sort of who base their entire analysis on the fact that the Mavs have an excellent defensive rating, because this game was effectively a showcase for why the Mavs defense is not as good as its rating suggests, because Brooklyn just outmatched them to stay in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, look, Kidd's defenses, and I hate defending Jason Kidd. It's not something I do. But I think in his mindset is he's fine giving up these more challenging shots. I think he wants to he figures if you're going to bomb you to death from three, then that's what's going to happen. And I personally think that's nuts, but we also look at the results for some of the more recent games, and it's like, okay, well, this is the gamble he's taking, and maybe they're not going to win 30% of their games. Instead, they're going to win 40 to 45% of their games. And that drives us crazy for very different reasons. As it's that's a long-term, we hate this versus
every time I watch Cam Boozer play, it just hurts my soul watching them win.
Sure. Well, That's kind of here. So what was AD's problem in the first half, and then what the hell happened in the second half?
I think to start the game, Cooper was aggressive. So I don't think they were outright looking for AD. It's not like they were feeding him in the post too much. But I think also it didn't help that AD, like you had mentioned earlier, had looked like he had monstered himself in the first half, and looked like he could not play professional basketball. There was a point where I think he tried to pack down Nick Claxton in the post and dribble the ball off his foot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think it was more a matter of that. I think someone like Jason Kidd must have gotten in his ear probably in the at halftime in the locker room, and actually probably gotten him to realize that, dude, you're Anthony Davis. You need to play like it. This is Nick Claxton and Daron Sharp that you're going against, not like you're going up against Chet Holmgren and Amen Thompson or any one of those all defense guys. No disrespect to Nick Claxton and Daron.
No, I understand. Like the first half, and my timeline was very funny. I'm standing there in the baggage carousel, and people are just like, "What does this guy do?" And that game is kind of the perfect argument. It seems like, looking at least the box score, for why we get really frustrated with him, but also why the people who think he's great think he's great.
So if you want to finish up?
No, please go. I'm talking. I didn't even watch the damn game.
No, so this AD game is kind of like the encapsulation of him as a player. Like, I follow some like Lakers people that watched him, when he was at LA, and he does this all the time where, whether it's halves or even like weeks where it's just like he doesn't look himself. And then you get the second half of this game where he scores 20 points, he has 11 rebounds, he has 4 stocks, and it's just, he looks like a completely dominant, like top 10, all-time great two-way talent. And it's just the first half he's invisible. But yeah, I like the second half and for AD, and I just thought, Cooper in the first half was super aggressive. Second half, I felt like, the Nets like outright hard doubled him in like the end of the third quarter. But his passing was really good in the third quarter specifically, set up AD on a couple lobs. So AD's a frustrating player. This kind of is what it is.
Well, and the NBA.com or the NBA Instagram account had some really good highlight plays. It seemed like the Nets were, Stuart Shane was talking about how well they were. Sorry, my wife's making cookies in the background. It seemed like that they would sort of step on their own foot. It's like letting the Mavericks get out and transition and do certain things. It looked like there was a pretty good number of highlight plays in this thing, which is,
Cooper almost had an insane dunk in the third quarter. Like, he jumped, stepped inside the free throw line, and the ball like fell out of his hands in midair. Like, he was so close to a highlight.
Yeah, no, but he had a highlight earlier in I want to say the first quarter, I think, which was basically
the transition one. Yeah,
Daron Sharp, he absolutely outright rejects Daron Sharp, or one of the
it was Sharp.
The Brooklyn, and it was like one of those things that, if it was one of the big guys, it would probably be in the 200 section or something like that, the rejection. But Flag basically blocks it into Max Christie, and it's an
was it the one where he's coming from like the
weak
side?
Weak side, and
one of those
weak
side blocks, which was insane.
Because it was at the peak of the guy's release, and maybe it's luck, maybe it's defensive timing. I watched that one like 6 times while on the airport shuttle because he got high, and we've not really gotten. Josh and I talk about this where we don't. Josh is better about talking about defense, but the bigger picture, we don't talk about Flag's defense near enough because the Mavericks are just so odd. But like that sort of defensive timing, nobody has that.
Yeah.
Not at 18 years old.
Yeah. Or just kind of ever.
Yeah.
It's the lack of fouling that he's been able to do with some of these blocks where he's gotten. I mean, he doesn't really have that many blocks on the season for a player of his ilk, and more kind of steals and deflections and stuff. But that's pretty that's pretty exciting and something to lean forward into.
Yeah, like you look at like his defense, like I think you can learn defense. Like you can learn to be a solid defender. But like being a great defender, you either have it or you don't. Like it's just kind of in you to have that natural effort on that end, and then just have the natural IQ to know where to be. And yeah, I mean, it's no shock. The defense seems way better when he's at the 4 and AD's at the 5. I mean, who could have guessed him playing as a weak side rim protector and roaming the back line? But
it's sort of good that Josh and I didn't talk about basketball for a week, because some of AD's comments following the Houston game spoke to a guy who just at his core, I don't think he understands why they're winning. Like I wouldn't normally say that, but when he was asked about playing like, center and power forward, and he's like, well, I guess I'll do it. Just it's fun. Like,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
In kids pregame comments, I think this was they raised this point, right? I mean that with the injuries, with Gaff out, with Lively out for the season, AD has to play the 5. And what do you think about that? And he's like, he doesn't have a choice. He has to do it. And I mean that was about as blunt as Jason Kidd has been. I mean, usually Kidd is a little like
he's players friendly. He's players friendly.
Yeah, he's a little wishy-washy about sort of coming out and just outright saying it. In this case, he was just like, dude, I mean, get off your fucking ass. You have to do it.
And start Dwight Powell at the 5.
Well, the best part about it is it's like this is where he looks great at the 5. I've been getting, I can't help myself when I engage on social media, including with like these Twitter accounts that have like 10 followers that like to tell me I don't know anything about basketball. But it's like the difference between AD playing 4 and the difference between AD playing 5 is with the way he plays is so much different, because him near the paint, I think, like, honestly, Cooper and he and PJ as a front line near the basket is really fun. It's just
best in the league, probably. Outside of the Thunder, probably.
And he doesn't foul a lot, and his reputation allows him to just sort of lurk there, and it causes kind of chaos for some of these teams. And I know the Rockets wasn't exactly the biggest win in the world because they weren't playing two of their best guys that would have potentially caused AD trouble. But it's so funny to see the difference between the words that are coming out of his mouth and then the basketball that he's playing. Because to turn around after kind of a lackluster first half and have 20 and 11 is not something like, granted, we only got like 20 total games in a Mavericks uniform, but like when he starts out bad, he tends to have a bad game. He's not exactly Mr. Bounce Back in game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Yeah, that was but AD, like he played the 4 for half a season with Boogie Cousins in New Orleans when he was 30 pounds lighter. And then he played the 4 for the Lakers in their finals run, but he was better at the 5. Whenever they played him at the 5, it was their death lineup. They just dominated teams when he played the 5.
I mean, him playing the 4 in that was nominal. Like they'd start JaVale McGee and then AD would play like 30 minutes or something like that at the 5.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, his defense, like imagine this game if he had to guard Danny Wolf on the perimeter and had to like sprint out to him at like the hash if he was playing the 4. Instead, he gets to guard like Day'Ron Sharp and Nick Claxton just sit in the paint for 48 minutes and just farm blocks and contests. Like,
and I think one of the things, we had a staffer named Matthew. Sorry, now my dogs are drinking water. I podcast down here because my family wants to go to sleep and everyone is up and around. But like this is we had a staffer named Matthew who made the argument that outside of like AD's first couple of years in New Orleans, he was wildly overhyped on the perimeter. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair for his whole career, but I certainly think it's the case now. And I don't expect a 32 to 33-year-old guy to be able to move. And you know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. It's an overstatement of his skill set.
I don't even think he's a bad perimeter defender. He's a 7-foot, 32-year-old, 260-pound guy. Like he's just naturally not going to be able to do it at a high level compared to like PJ or Cooper playing the 4 where they can just sprint around. So it's not even his fault. It's just he's not that type of player. He is a rim protector. Like that's it.
Like AD's athleticism isn't side to side like you were saying for PJ and Coop, right? AD's athleticism is vertical, right?
Yeah.
That's his explosion. That's the main thing. And that's why when you I think there was an article in the off season where they were talking about like the good things about the Mavs, where they talked about AD being the best vertical threat in the NBA.
I remember this vaguely, and it's like,
What is
maybe not
what
best,
is
but he's very good, at on both ends.
Yeah. Well, it's now that I think we can be a little more honest about Derek Lively now that he's just not going to come back this year.
And I have some thoughts about that. If we want to say that till the end of the show,
let's talk about the second half. But I will say that like Anthony Davis's timing and defensive instincts are much less wild than Gafford and Lively, and he doesn't 100%. Pick up the fouls. And so it's just, Gafford's and it's not his fault, but like Gafford sort of sells out on blocks and leaves.
He just hunts blocks.
He's like a weak side guy, and when he's forced to protect the rim, he just leaves the rim open. So it's kind of maddening. All right, I should take a short break here. We'll insert some ads, and then we'll be right back. Remember, there are 3 ways to support the show. 1 is the ads. 2 is actually telling your friends that are also Mavs sickos to watch and listen to our podcast. The 3rd is support the show directly. There's a couple of links in the show notes, things like that. How much water are you dogs going to drink? They keep coming in here. I'm muting myself, and it's like, what is going on? Both of them. Anyway, all right, we'll be right back after these ads. Okay, thanks so much for waiting there. All right, so I kind of think, we talked about the game. This is just one of those where it's good the Mavs won if you're interested in the Mavs winning. If they would have lost this one, I think we would have had more annoying things to talk about. Nemhard had a bit of a tough game. He was going to come back to earth. Yeah. Like he was not going to miss.
He was going to miss.
Yes. and if he's going to, if he's not going to shoot 67% from 3, I'm going to reckon that the Mavericks aren't going to be an amazing offense. That's, it's fine. He gets the ball moving and he does his job. The offense looks better when he's in it, even though some of the numbers are still a little bit weird. So that's fine.
And Brooklyn has enough of those defenders who are all 6'6", long arms. This thing that was always going to bother someone who is 5'11" with like a 6'2" wingspan.
Yeah. My final thought before we move off. I was going to talk about Max Christie. I thought he was awesome today. Had 4 stocks. Didn't have his best shooting game, but every game I watch him, I'm just so convinced he's your long-term starting shooting guard.
4 of 9 from 3 is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but I get what you mean. So that means he was one of 4 inside the arc. Okay.
But his defense was incredible today. He had a block in the 4th quarter that led to a Coop run out. I don't know what happened after, where he just perfectly stuck on the guy's hip, super physical, and then as the guy shot, he rose up and blocked it. But I've loved Christie's play this year, and it hasn't been like last year after the trade where it was he's the next SGA and all that, hitting every mid ranger.
He's fitting his role.
Yeah, like his role is perfect, where it's run in transition and get out, and when you want to get your 2-point shots, do that. Be a sniper, and then just be a great defender. So shout out Max Christie.
And he's an underrated passer as well. I mean, I know he only has 3 assists, but
his connective playmaking is solid. Like he's not going to do dumb stuff.
Yeah, he's not going to make the wild play. He's just going to make good fundamental passing plays within the structure of the offense.
That's all you can really ask for at a certain point in time with an offense that can be this janky. So just like making the right read and being, I always tell my kid that, where it's just like there's a lot of value in just making a fast decision as opposed to dawdling, and it's good stuff. Okay, that's enough. That's enough about the game. Do we have any like Festivus, like Dallas Mavericks Festivus concerns? What else would you guys like to talk about while I have you here?
Why don't you just do like a Derek Lively discussion?
Yeah, please.
Jack, you want to go first?
Okay. I have a Derek Lively jersey. I'm a massive fan, but I've been posting in our Slack chat, and I've been getting yelled at. I would not offer him an extension this offseason. I would let him hit restricted free agency, and if someone wants to pay him money, then let them. But I know it's fun to blame Nico and his decisions, but I mean he got hurt at Duke. He got hurt in 23. He got hurt last year. He's played in 30% of his total games. There is no chance that I am looking at him as a long-term piece right now. I mean, maybe he can stay healthy, but usually these big guys, once they start getting hurt, it's just
feet stuff is just very.
They're going to continue to get hurt.
Your feet and your hands, their extremities. It's where all the blood flow is a pain in the ass in these areas, which makes recovery take forever. And while he's going to a true foot specialist over in London, and lots of people are like, well, that's where all the soccer players are, so that makes sense that he's doing that. Which the second opinion element of it, like
never good.
That's the part to where if you're frustrated with the Mavericks, that's what you should be frustrated at. Like the fact that they made these decisions and he's ended up in this position. But I think that Jack's overarching point of the Mavericks, like whether or not Nico made some of the choices he made, it's impossible to say whether we'd be here or not, because the guy just seems to have, he had issues his rookie year. And that's when we were still happy with Nico. So it's a frustrating situation because I think he is really talented. I don't think we've gotten to see very much of his potential game
since that playoff run.
Since playoff run.
And when he in like his on-off numbers, even this year, you look at like he's a +6 on-off in his net rating this year, and this team is bad. It's just sad.
Yeah, I can't disagree with the points that Jack raised, but at the same time, I think this is basically where we're at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of our opinion. I would still try to get him to sign an extension, primarily because you're going to get that extension on probably an extreme discount,
like a Steph Curry kind of deal. Like
exactly. I mean, I mean, they're not even on the same planet in terms of like talent, but imagine getting someone at like a 4 for 40 who's like who's a starting center for who's a playoff team, right? Like, and that affords you maximum, cap flexibility and before we get into the accounts thing, there are, you are going to, if you are committing to a rebuild, you're going to get rid of big contracts like AD, like Clay, like Gafford, hopefully Caleb Martin.
Caleb's here for the long run. Come on.
Yeah.
He's here for a while.
So you get rid of all of these things and your big spend is only Kyrie. Per NBA rules, you still have to spend some money to meet like a minimum.
Yeah, I know.
So throwing 10 million at Derek Lively is actually not the worst thing in the world. At worst, if he's injured or whatever it is, he's trade filler. So it's more a matter of yes, he is injury prone. Yes, there are all of these issues, but you don't let talent walk out the building for.
Well, I think most GMs would tend to side on where it's just like get him for the best deal you can. But I think it might have been Chuck Cooperstein who was like listing off like great big men with foot problems. And I'm like, this isn't the argument you think it is. Like,
it's like Yao Ming, and it's like he started having foot problems and retired 2 years later.
Right. Yao Ming was and it's a very good example just because the Chinese played his foot to death. He basically didn't have off for something like 5 straight years. He was just playing continuous basketball. The NBA players today would die, that sort of thing.
Dirk towards the end of his career. The guy can't walk properly. He says it straight up. Yeah.
Well, and I was kind of posing to the chat, do we think that would change any of sort of Gafford's trade availability? And I was met with a very harsh, absolutely not, because the Mavericks still have Cisse and Dwight Powell. And it's like, I just forget Dwight Powell exists, and then he plays in a game like tonight.
And you get fine. It's fine. It's all right.
Yeah, he's passable.
He had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist and a steal in 16 minutes, which is
that's the Dwight Powell stat line.
Exactly, for a third, and most importantly, he did get hit in the face.
He got hit in the face.
Yeah, So
that's like the streak. It's just never going to end. Every game he gets in, poor guy's face.
So for your number 3 center, I think that's perfectly serviceable.
Yeah,
I think not playing Musa Cisse in this game was like a two-way contract thing. Like they want to conserve as many of his as many of his games as possible. But I guess once they actually decide whether they're going to make moves with the roster, I think Nemhard and Cisse would get signed to proper contracts.
Yeah, like final thing on Lively. Like I agree. Like I just let him hit restricted free agency. Like if some team wants to pay him, 20 mil, then you can have that conversation. But I don't think any team's offering him more than like 10. I would just wait, because even next year, I want to see next year. Like, is this dude even going to be is he going to be in the NBA, or is he just done? So yeah, shout out Dwight. Got way too much hate because he had to be a starting caliber center, which he's not. But he's a great third string center.
Yeah, I think it could also be like was there a rumor that he'd grown like 2 inches this offseason? Like
Lively said he had, but
I don't know. He looks tall.
Yeah.
There you go. He looks massive.
Yeah. Now it's going to be. We'll know more about what's going on with him probably later in the season, because remember, the one things I had actually forgotten was that Lively came back from that ankle surgery for the stress fracture and whatnot. He came back and played some of the last
year, right?
Yeah,
he played in that Luka game and he got like cooked. I remember that.
Yes, well, and it was just it was neat. That was I remember that. That was painful.
Yeah, I was at that game.
London.
It was crazy. It was the most weird environment in any sporting event I've ever been to.
Yeah, that one's tough.
Forget London. That guy needs to go to Tibet. He needs some of that Wemby healing,
go to the Tibetan monks.
Like some tantric healing shit that needs to be.
Well, Wemby got a calf strain, so maybe not. I mean, I don't know.
Did you this is completely off topic, but did you see like Wemby's most recent quote?
Oh, about capitalism?
No, he was talking about how he asked who he thinks the best players are, and he's like,
oh yeah, he mentioned like Jokic, and then like
well, it's me. And it's like, motherfucker, play more than 10 games in a row once in your life. I make Spurs fans really mad when I say this, but I'm like, if you read Wemby's quotes with Donald Trump's cadence, it makes them so funny, because he just says outlandish shit. And it's like, oh, it's not funny. It's disrespect. Oh, shut up. It's a good bit. Okay. Drinking more water.
Yeah.
Really good podcasting. It's just the best guy. Josh, because Josh is a good guy. Whenever I'm not on the show, I don't listen. Josh listens whenever he's not here, and he's like, you said the thing.
He's doing the J. Jonah Jameson fish shaking right now.
Yes.
Watching the podcast.
Yes. Now,
Oh,
trying to think if there's like, we're going to be dealing with like trade stuff for the next month and a half, and I kind of hate it. I love
trades. I love trade season. Best time of the year. Best time of the year.
See, I hate it because number one, I'm not good at them. But then number two, all those AD trades that ESPN proposed, like,
dude, we got Zach LaVine in one of those trades. Oh, if they got Zach LaVine, I'm not watching the team. I'm not watching the team if Zach LaVine is employed. Oh my god!
And the best part was the rationalization of it was you get Zach LaVine so that you can remain stay afloat as a winning
He's not good.
No.
And Zach LaVine if I remember correctly, and this might be like me misquoting the stat, I think Zach LaVine leads the NBA in the worst plus minus in the league or something.
He has hung around there.
I mean,
he's hung around there.
He's the most empty stats guy ever. Like,
and here's the deal, and they said that it would help with regards to the salary thing. Yes, I know AD makes 54 million and Zach LaVine makes 41 million, but AD to some extent is worth that 54 million.
Yeah,
Zach LaVine
he can be a top 10 player.
Right.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine hurts you on the court.
And there is no way Zach LaVine is turning down that 41 million player option to whichever team he's on next season. Like, no way.
Oh,
Does like China have player options? Like, do they have player options in China?
See, the thing about the ESPN stuff is like I always have to, and nobody from ESPN is watching my pod, but like I am actually friendly with a lot of those ESPN guys. Like, and I try not to tweet mean shit because I don't want somebody that I only kind of know. You know, it's like I've met and spent some time with them. I don't want to be like, but it's like all those ideas were offensive. Like they're that bad, and it's like if that's the return that we're getting,
don't trade him.
Don't trade him.
Yeah.
Or it's like, or we all just really need to make peace with how bad things are.
See, like I think if you can just get expiring money, like a young-ish, decent-ish role player and 1 or 2 firsts, like I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not trading him for Zach LaVine, like and some random pick. Or I saw there was one where the Mavs got Draymond. Like there was an AD to the Warriors.
There's
it's
no
like
way the Warriors
Draymond. That makes so much sense. Let's get even older.
Out of those 5 trades, I think the Toronto one was the most palatable in that they get RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl.
Oh, not Jakob Poeltl's contract. Don't look at Jakob Poeltl's contract.
It's real dark. Like
he'll be 37, getting paid $27 million.
That was. But I mean, I think out of all of those suitors, Atlanta makes the most sense.
That 27 pick that has New Orleans and Milwaukee swaps, like I would take KP back to get that pick.
Yeah. It's fun, and I like KP for what he is now is probably a lot more fun to watch to a certain extent because your expectations are low. You know?
Yeah, and most importantly, like Jack said, he's an expiring. So I mean, imagine like
30
KP,
mil just off the books next year.
Yeah,
they need
Nikhil Alexander Walker.
They need that,
and
I'd
one first round pick, maybe 2 second rounders or something like that. I think that's a deal that you will take.
Hey, we'll throw in D'Lo. We'll throw in D'Lo to get the deal done.
This is a really old quote, and back when I used to work in politics, there was a George Bush quote about education, and it was he used the phrase "the soft bigotry of low expectations." And like I think about that a lot when it comes to shitty basketball trades, where it's like we're so frustrated by how stupid it is, and it's like because remember when we traded KP, we were all just so excited to get off.
Oh, I didn't care what they gave up. It was the nastiest trade ever, and I was just like, thank God they got. rid of this guy.
We're just like we're so excited, and it's like then all of a sudden he's killing us in the finals. It's like of course, this is just
we don't got it.
Don't bring that Dallas basketball karma.
That's right. Well, you guys have provided way more entertainment than I and everybody listening deserved after a game that was that kind of milquetoast. So I can't thank you enough for joining tonight.
Hey, happy to be here.
I'm going to see if any of the fans out there want to hang out for a bit. You guys get on with your, in Jack's case, evening, Sudarshan's day. And we will, I'll be back with Josh probably on Monday. And as always, you guys see that link and you got a take you want to get off, you can always join the Mavs Party. I know Sudarshan does it whenever he's really fired up about something after one of these. So the same goes for you, Jack. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, well, this has been a good time. Okay, we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, I'll be right back to start the little Mavs Party. All right,
bye, guys.
Welcome to Mavs Party. I'm Kirk Henderson, hosting after the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Nets 119-111. I only saw about the last 5 minutes of the game, but saw a lot of the game on my Gamecast. I was in Washington, D.C. for work, and let's just say I'm glad there are no games this week because I was working late every time, so I would have much rather been watching basketball. This is a show. If you want to join, you just click that click that thing in the comments, and then we'll go from here. But I'm kind of getting the sense this might either be a no-show kind of evening because kind of light attendance, also a not a great game. I don't think that people were super interested in this one, but we do got my man Kill Cam who wants to probably fire some takes off. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Okay, I had a work Christmas party today, and then I had to get on a plane and take a 3-hour plane home. So it's like, as I was getting off the plane, I had got like just the slightest bit of a hangover. I don't know how that happened. Like I'm old now, and so it's just. Then I'm glad the Mavs game was at least like something worth talking about. So, what are you thinking tonight,
man? That was so frustrating, man. It was
Why?
life and death with the Nets.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all dominantly, and the Nets shot the ball so well from three.
Yeah, MPJ's legit, man.
He's always been an interesting player. I mean, I don't know if he's like a player you want as your 1A guy, but he does a lot of fun stuff. I'll tell you that much.
I know, man, but honestly, like, so yeah, he's fine, man, but he's just not really. Guys, I don't know. He's not bad, but he's not really what takes you over the top with this team. You know, if we had like better pieces, maybe, but I just don't think he's gonna set us apart because, especially since he could probably like complain more and more about playing the 4, even though he's just a better 5, man. Like it's not even close.
See, I'm going to be interested to see if he keeps kind of going with those comments because as somebody pointed out, I think it was Sudar Shan because he watched Jason Kidd's or listened to Kidd's pregame stuff and said that Kidd's kind of saying tough. You know, this is the way it goes.
I don't blame him, man, because
that's funny.
Quite frankly, man, he's just better at it.
Yes. And
he's so lazy with his closeouts, you know. Maybe, maybe Kid should tell him like, "Hey, like, if you will close out like a 4, then I'll play you at the 4. But right now, you close out like a 5."
That's really funny. That's a good. I've not heard that. Like, you're right, but it's not something we talk about. Like when I level criticisms at his closeouts aren't the first thing that come to mind. But you're right. He does the same thing Porzingis used to do. Which I'm just like, get a hand up. You're 7'9" or whatever it is. Come on.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Man. But that was a good win though, man. Like Coop's so special, man.
Yes.
He's so special, man.
I'm not remotely bored watching him. He is a point. You know, it's so funny. I one of the things that made Luka so much fun to watch is he was appointment television for Luka. And Cooper has become appointment television beyond the fact that I do this for, work here, but I would want to watch him play anyways. He's just exciting to watch.
Yeah, man. That's why I want to I don't want to tank, man, but like just kind of keep it right now, like good but not good, so we can hopefully still make the lottery, man. Because I just want to surround him with another piece,
sure,
like, around his age, because I just don't see it with.
I get that. That part I get.
And I think Kyrie, I think it's like a healthy Kyrie maybe, but it's just kind of hard to really makes me think he's gonna stay healthy.
But he's so fun to watch. I mean, I think, because there's going to be a new GM at some point. I think anybody with a brain knows that Kyrie Irving is not going to be your lead ball handler. And if you find, I don't think you can ever play a realistic backcourt of Nembhard and Kyrie. But if you find a bigger guard that could play just some minutes with these guys, like I could see something really fun in the group that exists. I think they move AD at some point, whether or not we want them.
Honestly, I think Nembhard in like a year or two. But what's going to be important for him is he has to take the weight room as seriously as Giannis did, because he's not that bad. It's just like right now, you on defense you can't be too small and too weak. Yeah. So if you're too small, man, he's gonna have to put on some muscle and really gain some really like functional strength. So that way he'll just be dealing with his size and not his size and strength
Yes.
on defensive end. So I think it's going to take a year or two before you can play Ryan and Kyrie together, because I think offensively it'll be really good, but I think in a year or two the defense could catch up to that offensive pairing.
Well, yeah,
especially
and
with Coop and PJ out on the floor to really take care of the defense. Because those guys make up for a lot. So, I think in a year or two, if Ryan takes his strength and conditioning seriously, with Coop and PJ on the floor to really help them roam around, so that way they can
you can cover a lot of mistakes that way. Yeah.
So I think because I think that offensive pairing of Ryan and Kyrie could be really, really fun to watch.
Yes. Also, apologies once again to the crowd for the sheer volume of noise that's going on in the background of the show. Two things are at play here. First, I got a new laptop, and I can't figure out how to get my Blue Yeti mic, which actually controls directional sound, to work on my new laptop. So we're operating off of my camera thing here, and it picks up a hell of a lot more ambient noise. The second part there is that I thought everyone in my house was going to bed because they told me they're going to bed, and they're not. And so everybody's like instead trying to be quiet while I'm podcasting, and it's not working. Including my dogs. So sorry about that, everyone. But it's life, no one really cares. You're not listening to this podcast for audio quality and fidelity. You're listening to it because you are very weird. That's why. So I was sad to sort of miss this one because I'd been looking forward to watching Cooper play. But the highlights from this game were pretty epic.
Yeah, it's one of the games that were like that. The highlights do tell most of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of those games. So
good.
You don't really have to do like a full rewatch.
It is pretty crazy to me. It's like the NBA Cup. The Mavericks got the Nets and the Jazz because the teams that all didn't win a single game are playing each other out of these games. And the Mavericks got stuck in a pretty bad draw for the Cup, and then also didn't win any games just because they weren't playing their best basketball early on. And so it's like the fact that they sort of luck into this win, and then they play the Jazz, who they should also beat on Monday, makes me laugh a little bit because, we were talking the Mavericks were 4-15, I think, maybe, and we're looking at the schedule going, how many wins do they really have in them until Christmas? And since then, they've won 6 and they've lost like 3, something like that, maybe 2. Like they've been playing better basketball. And these 2 games are going to really bolster some of the Mavericks numbers.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh. So, well, what? Anything else from you?
Man, just nothing on the mind right now, really.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I hope you join again on Monday when they play Utah. I'm looking forward to seeing. I like a lot of the weird Utah players. I hope Lauri Markkanen plays because he's just a tyrant on the basketball.
And honestly, I do like their coach. I just don't know what's wrong with them because they don't have that bad of talent.
Well, they're trying to lose. They need to lose because their top 8 pick will go to if it's in the top 8, they keep it, and then they don't owe anything to Oklahoma City. Like the pick that they owe Oklahoma City just disappears. If it's outside the top 10, I think, or top 8, then it goes to Oklahoma City.
I'm talking about the playing hard because I heard the coach recently kind of getting on them about
that was funny.
Yeah, so losing I understand, but this is not caring,
yes.
which is a problem because that can happen and that can affect the players.
You're absolutely right.
So that's why I don't fully agree on tanking, but I do believe in organically taking.
Sure.
Which we were kind of in the beginning, and honestly, we still could once we go through a stretch where we play good teams. But for now, let's just enjoy the wins.
That's right. Well, hey, appreciate you joining. All right.
Sir, thank you.
All right. Talk to you Monday, maybe. Have a good one.
Sir, yes, sir, you too.
Okay, coming up next, my friend Ash Boying. He's got 2 joining things. I'm going to have to figure out which one. Is this the one that's working? doesn't think it's that one. Hold on one second. Is this the one that's working? Can you hear me from either of these? No, doesn't look like Mr. Ashboying is able to join us. I'm gonna filibuster. I'm gonna kick him from the studio, let him rejoin, and then we'll give it a try here. Yeah, my friend Glenn in the chat says just play basketball. I think that's what they're gonna do. You're gonna have some stretches where you lose some games. You're gonna have some stretches where you win some games. Josh and I didn't think the Mavericks. I'd kind of had them posted for like a floor of like 40 games before the season started. I kind of think their floor at this point is like 35 at where I'm at, like 25 more wins, which puts them, kind of in the back into the play-in range. So we'll see if there's sort of anything there. All right, let's try Mr. Ashboying again. See if he's able to join. Hello, friend. How are you?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good thing.
Having a little trouble getting connected. So
no, it's not. Sometimes the internet just doesn't do us any favors.
Yeah.
What's going on tonight? What'd you think of that one?
Well, again, we won the turnover battle, which seems like every time this team wins a turnover battle, they win the game. So, that's just basketball 101. But I'm watching the replay right now.
14 turnovers, good for them. You're keeping it low. Yeah.
The other thing is that this team really needs a starting quality point guard. I guess Ryan Nembhard kind of turned back into a pumpkin again a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
I think if he's playing more than about 18 minutes, he's being overexposed. So
yeah, the same thing happened to Brandon Williams, where it's like the more he played, eventually teams are like they get tape on it, and it's like, well, if he's hitting shots, I think teams are willing to let him shoot, and that's not his natural thing. He scored a bunch for some of these games, but that doesn't mean he's super comfortable with it. He was 0 for 4 tonight, and to his credit, he just kind of stopped taking the shots.
Yeah. And then I think tonight kind of showed why Anthony Davis is probably going to get traded. Someone's going to give us a couple of first rounders because, defensively, I felt like he was really good tonight. He changed a lot of shots. He had 3 steals, 3 blocks, and he actually had 5 offensive rebounds. And those statistics generate extra possessions. And
yes.
And that's kind of the Houston model right now. Is that Houston is they're winning because they have more possessions than the other team, and
beating the hell out of teams.
Houston is like insane on the offensive boards. I mean, they just I think Steven Adams has like a 26.5% offensive rebounding rate. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that's how Houston's winning the game, and that's that's got me kind of looking at how you build this team out. You want to build this team out. Of course, you want skill, okay? But if you can't get skill, you want to build the team out around Cooper with guys that are going to generate extra possessions.
Sure.
When I'm looking at trades, one of the things that you guys started talking about trades, the thing that ESPN article did show me, okay, is that the Mavericks are probably going to get a couple of first-round picks for AD.
Why? None of those trades had any. There was one that had.
Oh, no. The Atlanta trade had 2 of them. Okay. And what's going to happen is Giannis is probably getting traded. And whoever loses that trade sweepstakes is gonna maybe overpay for AD. Okay, and the reason I say that, the East is wide open, and it's not coincidental that the article comes out that Toronto, Atlanta, and Detroit, which I don't believe, but Atlanta and Toronto are the leading suitors for. Are expected to be, 2 of the leading suitors for AD because the East is wide open. And
right.
someone, like as I said, I said this about three weeks ago. Someone's going to talk them. He's like an NFL quarterback in the draft. Someone's going to talk themselves into it. I mean, when you think, what made me remember that is that the Dallas Cowboys are playing J.J. McCarthy this week. Who got talked, who Minnesota talked themselves into drafting in the top 10. So someone's going to talk themselves into trading for AD, and it's going to be a team that loses out on Giannis. And my feeling is it's going to be either Atlanta or maybe Miami, because you know how Miami likes to make splashes.
Well,
So,
they're so stuck on whether they're not. The league is apparently being very cagey about whether they can trade the guy.
Rozier, yeah.
And that's the holdup, I think, is for Miami. It's like they don't know if they can move him or not. And Bill Simmons went on a long rant about, he was like, I hate having to defend Miami, but he's like, I think they should get their pick back from Charlotte. And if they get their pick back from Charlotte, that opens up their trade possibilities far and wide, because they owe a 27 to Charlotte.
Yeah, but Bill Simmons, I'm not a fan of Bill Simmons, and I don't think you should penalize Charlotte for
Well, the idea was that Charlotte knew about the trade and that knew about the gambling.
That is the question.
And withheld
why? Yeah,
I think they did. Like it's such a hilariously stupid thing. But Miami's an interesting one. I mean, more and more people in my life are pushing the Atlanta one. The Toronto one was a war crime on ESPN. It was like, let's take back a bunch of expensive players for nothing.
Pirtle. I mean, you owe me a first just for taking Pirtle's contract.
That's exactly right.
So, I mean, I would think that anybody that's going to take that contract off Toronto's hands, they're going to get a first, just because they're taking the contract. So, that one and the Pistons trade was kind of highway robbery as well. I'm not a Jaden Ivey fan right now. I mean, and quite frankly, I'm not a Ron Holland fan. He's a very good defender, but defensively, he's just not. I mean, offensively, he doesn't move the needle for me. So, I'm just not a fan of him. But I am a fan of getting as many 2026 draft picks as you can, because I think this is an outstanding draft class. I think it's pretty deep. 20, 22 picks down. So, the other thing is, I think that unless you're in the top 4, there's not a lot of difference for me from
Sure.
5 to 10. So,
I mean, there's not a lot of, I guess for the, and I'm still early on my stuff, but I wonder if guards in the draft rise just due to sort of scarcity at the position, because there's what's his name from, so there's the Kansas point guard, and I can't remember names right now because I'm tired. There's the Louisville point guard who seems like a lot of fun.
Michael Brown.
That's the one our staff likes the most. And then the one later in the lot and probably later in the draft period is the guy at, I think, Alabama.
Phylon LeBaron. Yeah, Phylon.
Those are the 3 that like our staff talks about the most.
You need to have your staff look at the kid from Houston.
Okay.
Kingston.
Houston's such a fun squad.
He's shooting close to 45% from 3, and he's very explosive, and that Kelvin Sampson is going to get him to play good defense.
Sure.
So
otherwise he won't play.
Yeah. So that's a kid. I think that that nobody was looking at when the season started. But you're right. I mean, guards are going to rise, because I mean, you look at people are talking about Bennett Sturts for goodness sakes being a top 15 pick. And I like the guy's skill, but I watched Iowa play Iowa State last night, and you were talking about Vucevic's clay feet, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Vucevic might have better feet than Bennett Sturts on defense, to be honest with you.
And that stuff just matters. It's the people, Mavs fans, because of Cuban and because of how Cuban built teams, I think a lot of Mavs fans are still not super interested in draft stuff. And to me, it's you have to build your team through the draft. You just have to.
Well, that is crazy not being interested in draft stuff. But the problem with the league right now, and the issue that people are having right now, is that the draft picks right now are concentrated in just a few teams.
That's the
Because
yes.
you look at. I mean, I think Detroit right now owns like 15 second-round draft picks in the next 6 years. I mean, just they've just got an insane amount of seconds. Charlotte's got 21 picks over the next 5 or 6 years, and then there's Oklahoma City, who's the best team on the planet and has the most draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, for goodness sake, I think I saw that they'd be drafting like 4 right now. And that's just insane that a 24-1 team is going to get the 4th best player in the draft.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have an outside chance of having 2 top 10 picks.
Right.
Yeah. It's
right.
wild.
And that's just crazy. Now, what that does for the league, though, they can't keep all those players. I mean, they just can't. And so there's going to be some guys from Oklahoma City that are going to hit free agency pretty quickly.
Yep.
And so that's just it is what it is. So so I just don't know, but that's kind of what's going on now. I'm gonna tell everybody one other thing before I get off. If you really want to see athletic excellence, you need to check out the Nebraska women's volleyball team.
Did you see that, like, their women's volleyball team, both of their basketball teams were, like, undefeated?
Yes, they are.
They're just, like, kicking the crap out of everyone.
Yeah, they are. Well, their women's volleyball team won, like, 27 sets in a row.
Oh, yeah, they fill the football stadium whenever they host, like, spring matches out there. They get so many people.
93,000. 93,000. And but I was watching them tonight play Kansas, and Kansas is a pretty good volleyball team, and they just smoked them. I mean, they just athletically. I mean, just if you're a fan of just athletic excellence, that's something that's something to watch, because they are so much better than their competitors. It's unreal to watch.
That's right.
So
it's good take. Well, hey, I appreciate you keeping the show going for us.
No problem. Good to have you back in town.
It was Josh, poor Josh. He is like, his work really ran into a couple of things at once, and he just needs he's going to end up being away from the podcast for like 8 or 9 days, but he's not actually getting to do anything fun, and he's not, and so he's going to come back and he's going to be haggard and tired. But at least we didn't have no games. I didn't really pay attention to the NBA Cup whatsoever. I felt fine taking a little mid-season break. I mean, I took a few days off myself. I had a few emergencies at work myself. So it's just the way the season's lined up. It just every year it's like, gosh, I really wish there was like 65 games. That's all I need. I don't need 82. There's just
I don't need 82 either. But one of your other callers did say something. I think you said it. Cooper Flag is much watch TV. Must watch TV. I'll also say this. Okay, so what's the deal? What is the obsession with starting PJ Washington?
It's a great question. They already paid him. He's not he also doesn't strike me as a malcontent. So it's like, just bring him off the bench and let him eat.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking, Cooper looks so much better on offense, and the offense seems to flow so much better when Max is on the floor, because he gives you space, okay? And either Max or Clay, okay? Because Clay generates that gravity that's going to give you space, okay? And if Cooper has space and then somebody to kick it to, the offense just seems to flow much better, I agree. And I don't know that teams are really worried as much about PJ's 3-point shooting as they are about giving Najee a runway, to drive.
I
So
think that's true because PJ sort of overwhelms teams with his sort of Swiss Army knife thing, but he plays with a lot of force, but he's not particularly I got to figure out how to phrase this because he does have a lot of skill, but he doesn't have the best touch is I think what I mean to say, because he's pretty good on post-ups, but he's a little too reckless on all of his drives. His shot is not good enough to really be guarded tightly. And so unless he's really feeling it, there's just something about his game that feels a little out of control sometimes compared to Cooper.
Well, not to mention the fact that his handle's really loose. He's got a really loose handle. Versus Najee that teams are giving Najee, if a team gives Najee, some space to shoot the ball, well, he just eats that space up really quickly and is able to. Najee's kind of a walking paint touch, is what he is. I mean, and I think teams are kind of recognizing that if we give him a runway, that's a problem. So they get out and guard him, which allows Cooper to because there are all kinds of ways to get spacing. I mean, it's just not, well, this guy's a great 3-point shooter, so we need a great 3-point shooter to get spacing. Right. And now that I think about it, now that I'm watching Cooper, I don't know if you saw this, but and you probably didn't, but Cooper made an entry pass from almost half court tonight. I mean, and it was a dime. I mean, he was like a step or two over the half court line, and he made an entry pass to AD, and he threw the pass where AD was able to turn his shoulder and pin the other guy on his shoulder and go straight up.
Right.
And it was Luka-esque actually. I mean, those passes that Luka made that were pretty routine for him, that where you were like, okay, that's not a highlight reel pass, but nobody else in the league can make that pass.
That's right.
And Cooper was able to make that pass, and when you look at it, looking at the second half, Cooper was like, well, I'm not scoring the second half, so I'll just get 6 assists in the third quarter. I just don't think there's anything that he cannot do on the basketball court. There's nothing that you can ask him to do that he can't do, except shoot 3-pointers right now.
And I still think that's his hand, because even his free throws have started to be a little wonky. And,
right.
That's just got to be the thumb wrap.
Yeah, and you saw that happen, and again, you didn't watch the game, but he had a drive where it was going to be just one of these top 10 play slams, and he went up and he just lost the ball because of the thumb. and Devin Harris was like, yeah, it looks like he just lost the ball, and I wonder how much that thumb had to do with it. And then Skin was like, yeah, I keep forgetting that his thumb is hurt, because he never talks about it.
They never talk about it. It's very odd.
He doesn't say a word about it. And so the question is, I'm wondering how much that thumb is bothering him, because he had that big fat wrap on it, and maybe you sit him for he had a week, but maybe you I don't know, something's got to. You don't want that to turn into an ongoing problem, because you just don't. And
yeah, I mean, it's not affecting everything else, but it's been almost a month, I think, of it just being, because he's on every injury report with it. It's
right.
So I don't know.
Right.
Stinks. So, hey man, anyway. Maybe see you Monday.
Yeah, you'll see me Monday. So yeah, you're yawning, so you need to get to bed. So we'll see you later.
Yeah, I folded and stuffed over 2,000 envelopes the past couple of days, and like I gave my company's lower level workers some Christmas cards they need to mail out. And I gave them to them a month ago, and I went out there. I was like, these are supposed to be out by Friday, and none of them were done on Wednesday. And I'm like, what is wrong with you two? And they're like, oh, we were just going to get it done. I'm like, you have no idea how long these things take to sign and fill out. It's like, do the math. It takes you 30, even if it takes you 30 seconds a card, it's still just it is awful. It's awful.
Well, when I used to be in politics, I'd have to get thousands of mail pieces out too. So it's not not the most fun thing in the world, but
No, so
you
I'm
know.
just like mentally. Ugh. But hey,
All
thanks
right,
so
man.
much for joining. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Right. I will be back on Monday night. Probably stuff in Mavs Moneyball. I have no idea. Everybody be good. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate your support. Go Mavs.